Let's take a look at a journey to the West. Here it is. Where is it? Where is it? Heartfelt wish to the Great Master, the holder of teachings. When I came to Washington, D.C., I sincerely hoped that the activities of benefiting sentient beings here will be even greater than those in Hawaii, Colorado, and the West Coast. There are two reasons for this. As we know, His Holiness Penor Rinpoche is recognized as the supreme head of the Ngagyo Nyingma lineage. That was the case back then. Nowadays, it seems there isn't a so-called head of the Nyingma tradition externally. After the previous head passed away a few years ago, no new one was appointed. Later, someone from an island claimed to be the head, but many people online criticized him, so there probably isn't a universally recognized head right now. In the past it was Dudjom Rinpoche, His Holiness Dilgo Khyentse, and then Khyentse Rinpoche. They took turns. I think it rotated through 7 masters or so. At that time, His Holiness Penor Rinpoche was the external representative, the supreme head of the Nyingma school. In the Nyingma tradition, there is no one who is more authoritative and influential than him. For quite a long time, I have been carefully and thoroughly learning and observing his spiritual qualities as a Dharma master, as well as his worldly qualities. Actually, His Holiness, and not just regarding Penor Rinpoche, but likely regarding many people, would analyze them from these two perspectives. Actually, it is necessary for us to do the same. Whether we are selecting someone or otherwise, he observed from both the spiritual and worldly perspectives. This is very important. In terms of his spiritual qualities, he has both penetrating wisdom and profound realization, and his virtue is unparalleled. From the worldly perspective, he is kind-hearted, forward-looking, sympathetic, trustworthy, sincere, and honest. I honestly never received teachings from His Holiness Penor Rinpoche directly. When we visited back then, he was very busy. He would often just drive off to handle matters. Sometimes we really wanted to make a connection and have him teach a little, but there was no time. So I didn't receive much directly from Penor Rinpoche. But truly, in terms of both worldly and spiritual qualities, he was an exceptionally remarkable master. There are very moving stories about how he established his center. I'm afraid that such a wonderful teacher like him is very rare to be found in today's world. First, he praised His Holiness Penor Rinpoche. Then, regarding Ahkon Lhamo, who was recognized by Penor Rinpoche, she now enjoys a high reputation, and her Dharma activities are vast. She was recognized by him. Actually, her biography mentions that she was recognized by His Holiness Penor Rinpoche. At that time, she also asked Zongnang Rinpoche and Dilgo Khyentse Rinpoche. She asked both of them. So it seems she was recognized by all 3 of them. In the early 80s, she was first recognized by Gyatro Rinpoche, but even before Ahkon Lhamo was recognized as a female tulku, since she was young, starting from the age of 12, she had some meditative experiences, and she practiced meditation. It seems she established some centers that still exist in some places today back then. Ahkon Lhamo was historically the first Western woman to be recognized as a female tulku in Tibetan Buddhism. She has quite a few titles. I hope she is not just. But His Holiness here, because she had done less study and contemplation, she often attended empowerments. Just like some of our fellow practitioners here, she wasn't very interested in study and contemplation. Maybe Westerners prefer it that way too. However, she is good with the nature of mind practices. But His Holiness really wanted her to study and contemplate, yet he didn't dare say it directly, or else we would have to stay for a few more days. So in the words that follow, if I just hint at it slightly, you will all know. His Holiness wanted to say that she should study well. To manage the Sangha, you must improve your own qualities. Just having the title of a tulku is not enough. He wanted to say this. He also said privately, oh, she needs to study more and understand Buddhism more, otherwise to support the Sangha later. Supporting the Sangha as a layperson who doesn't understand the teachings at all. His Holiness thought she should study properly and learn more, but he did it in a very skillful way. I don't know back then, but Ahkon Lhamo was very happy with this book this time. We gave her some copies at first, and she asked for more. Later, we gave her over 20 copies. At that time, the nun who worked at the White House contacted us later and said that after Ahkon Lhamo saw this book, she was extremely delighted. This book, A Journey to the West, seems to be well regarded in both Tibetan and Han regions. Everyone thinks it's acceptable. The other day, Khenpo Chadal, the former director, when we were having a picnic near the finance office, he told me, "You wrote this very well." He meant that it's good that you wrote this before you died. Then I said, "Do you think it's fine if I die as long as the book remains?" He said that wasn't what he meant, but that it was written quite well. Because my health isn't good, he might have been thinking that way. Anyway, the point was that it's good that I wrote this while I'm still alive. Several Khenpos also said this. They meant that this book probably has some influence both inside and outside. When Ahkon Lhamo and her students read it, they were very moved. Many scenes of His Holiness when he was alive just surfaced in their minds. Later, they asked us for many copies. That nun from the White House is still in frequent contact with our volunteers here. It's quite good. Now when we went there back then, there were some members of the Sangha. Later, it seems Khenpo Tsultrim Lodro also went there. Their website seems to list her titles. I probably shouldn't say too much about her, but I should mention a little. He says here, "I hope she can live up to her reputation and let the true meaning of her title be well established. Even if she had 100 root gurus, the only one that she should hold dear as the only priceless jewel above her head is His Holiness Penor Rinpoche, and she must try every effort to actualize his broad vision in her entire life. This is the first reason. We should understand what he meant. Through his stainless wisdom, Penor Rinpoche foresaw this center's influence and appointed Ahkon Lhamo as its main teacher. Unlike other places, this center is located near the capital of the US. Given this unique geographic location, I hope it will become an extraordinary and distinctive place for the Dharma to spread and prosper." This is my second reason. Things are going very well now. They seem to have branches in Australia and other places, Maryland or wherever. They have established branch centers elsewhere as well. Now, I see that Ahkon Lhamo's daughter is also spreading the Dharma. Ahkon Lhamo herself teaches both Sutra and Tantra. Compared to before, it seems to me she must have indeed done some study and contemplation. She explains some Buddhist principles, even things like divination, and she teaches those quite well. This leads to the next point. The great aim of spreading the Dharma and benefiting beings cannot be accomplished without causes and conditions. First and foremost, the Dharma teacher must be endowed with good qualities. For Ahkon Lhamo, I believe she was born with many excellent qualities. Nonetheless, in order to maintain a center and educate the Sangha, it is far from enough to have only innate virtues. It is necessary to further develop noble qualities through training in study and practice. There are two reasons for this. Firstly, even if a master is endowed with extraordinary wisdom and spiritual accomplishment, only after having acquired comprehensive knowledge of the Dharma can he or she influence and convince others. In the world, there is no one whose inborn qualities surpass those of Buddha Shakyamuni. But even the Buddha, while on the path of training, studied under teachers like Alara Kalama and Uddaka Ramaputta to allow ordinary people to generate faith in him. So, since you cannot surpass Buddha Shakyamuni, you still need to study and contemplate. In terms of spiritual accomplishment, no one exceeds Orgyen Padmasambhava, but even Padmasambhava himself relied on the 8 Mahasiddhas for an extended time. Similarly, Vimalamitra followed Sri Singha for 21 years and fully received all these instructions. Therefore, no matter how many inherent qualities you possess, you must rely on a teacher to receive instructions and study and practice the Dharma to the best of your ability. This is of great significance. Essentially, he is encouraging her to study and contemplate well. Secondly, although a great many masters developed incredibly great qualities in their previous lives, they can be obscured by habitual propensities and the trauma of birth. In order to reveal them, however abundant their qualities were, it is necessary to rely on qualified teachers to extensively study the Dharma. So that is the meaning here. The second point is quite similar to the first. The main point is the need to rely on a teacher. She did rely on teachers, including Yangthang Rinpoche and Gyatral Rinpoche, but perhaps not in a systematic way like we do, studying many different aspects, because when doing things back then, it might have focused more on establishing the center and learning the Vinaya. There might have been a bit of that, and His Holiness had some suggestions for them to further improve. The Buddha said in the Tantra of holding all qualities, before relying on a teacher, even the name of a Buddha is unheard of. Without a teacher, there would be no Buddha. All Buddhas in 1,000 eons come from following the teacher. This point has been stated very clearly, so one must rely more on spiritual friends. According to what I've learned from afar, this refers to her as well. Actually, we used to mention her name constantly, but here I am just using she or her. Otherwise, I'd be saying her name over and over. Generally, after mentioning the name once at the beginning, we use she as a pronoun for the rest. After she relied on Penor Rinpoche, she received the Rinchen Terzod, the empowerments, transmissions and instructions of that treasury of Dharma. I also heard that she has studied with many masters from the land of Tibet. There's also a photo with Zongnang Rinpoche. Let's take a look at this. One is Gyatral Rinpoche, one is Zongnang Rinpoche, one is His Holiness Penor Rinpoche. They were all young then. Now, I see that except for Ahkon Lhamo, they have all passed into parinirvana. Ahkon Lhamo must be in her 70s now, I suppose. Is there another photo? This is one I found a couple of days ago of His Holiness at the Cool Rock. This one is a bit clearer. There are many recognizable people here. You see Tulku Tenzin right at the front. Tulku Tenzin, and here we have Khenpo Shibu, and this tall one looking back is Khenpo Chubar. Beside His Holiness is Khenpo Depa, and here is Lama Sotun next to Tulku Tenzin. They were all quite young. This one is much clearer. Here is another one. This is Ahkon Lhamo. Yes, she is wearing a dakini hat. Western female tulkus are so fortunate. Regarding the empowerments, where was the part I just mentioned? Never mind. My eyes are a bit blurry today. How did it go? Where is it? Empowerments, transmissions and instructions, right? I heard she has relied on many masters who came from the Tibetan areas, so I believe she also possesses the qualities of study and practice. Even with such qualities, ordinary qualities are not enough to guide disciples. One must have transcendent qualities. For instance, the peerless Venerable Atisha, who was the personal emanation of Amitabha Buddha in human form, relied on over 150 masters throughout his life in order to train disciples and guide others. He researched all the pith instructions with extreme thoroughness. Not only did he master the complete path to Buddhahood, but he could also teach various methods according to the capacities of superior, middling, and inferior students. Otherwise, if one only possesses a single quality, it is impossible to benefit beings extensively. Sometimes my eyesight gets worse and worse. For example, regarding illnesses, a hot illness requires a cooling medicine and a cold illness requires a warming medicine. One must prescribe the right medicine for the specific disease to eradicate it. Relying on a single medicine cannot cure all ailments. I believe all pharmacies in America also dispense different medications for different diseases. A single drug cannot eliminate every sickness. Therefore, one set of instructions is not enough. One must master many teachings. His Holiness told her directly, "You must study and contemplate well." Building upon her existing qualities, she should also rely on many qualified masters masters to strive to enhance her own realization and virtue. This is very important. The other day I wondered if she might be offended if I showed this, but probably not. This applies to all of us. Whether one is a Dharma teacher or a Khenpo, everyone needs room to grow and improve. That is why I'm showing this now. The Buddha once said, even if one has reached the stage of no more learning, one should manifest the appearance of a learner. Do you understand? Oh, I've become a Khenpo now. I never need to study again. I finally made it. Lama Kyen. That attitude won't do. Even if one has attained the state of no more learning, one must still manifest as a learner. Many great masters, even after reaching Buddhahood, still manifest the appearance of studying the Dharma. So I hope she can continue to study the Dharma extensively. Yes, he told her so much. As disciples, do not focus on seeking food, wealth, or fame in this life. Instead, let go of everything and practice diligently after receiving these teachings. I believe only such a person is a worthy vessel for me to entrust with this Dharma. I would be very happy and delighted. I give the empowerment today and will explain the instructions tomorrow. Regarding the peaceful Manjushri sadhana, I will not withhold a single sentence from you. The key is that you must not waste it. By no means should you practice superficially for just a day or two, and then neglect it after I leave. Otherwise there is no meaning in my transmitting this Dharma. I have 3 hopes for you this time. First, you must go all out to actualize the wishes of His Holiness Penor Rinpoche and all great masters who uphold the teachings. In fact, this is also an indirect hope His Holiness has for us. The first is that we should try our best to align with the Guru's intent and the noble aspirations of all great masters. Look at those remarkable masters before us. They dedicated their entire lives to Buddhism and benefiting beings. We should also do our utmost to fulfill those aspirations. Second, do everything possible to let the Dharma flourish and prevail in this center and in this country. This is the responsibility of each and every one of us. Yesterday I made this request to the Khenpos and Khenmos. Indeed, the Dharma has been passed into the hands of our generation. We have already handed it down to the next generation. We don't consider ourselves true great masters who hold the teachings, but we have truly worked hard our whole lives. Looking back at my own life, I can say I have indeed put in the effort. Regardless, it now depends on how the next generation can propagate the Buddha's teachings in this world. The third point, never abandon the teaching of peaceful Manjushri. This is what we studied together last year, and devote yourself to its practice. His Holiness said, most likely, I will not come to the US in the future. Even if I don't come, we can still communicate through letters. Back then, that was the way. Fax machines existed then, but they only had letters. There was no other way. Nowadays, we can send messages on WeChat. I sometimes wonder if His Holiness were still here today, would he use WeChat? I think he probably would. His Holiness had the very first landline in our academy. We mentioned this in A Journey to the West. At times His Holiness was interested in electronics, but he wouldn't be like some of us, constantly playing with a phone. Today, what destroys us is nothing else. The reason many people study and contemplation don't progress is tied to phones and computers. They can be helpful, but they can also be harmful. It depends on how you manage them. I would love to have a piece of information about your progress in the actual practice. I hope you can be diligent. All of you possess rich virtues and good qualities, but now you listen to the advice from such a person as me, who is devoid of any merit while having a lot of faults. It is like a lion getting advice from a dog, which is quite unreasonable. Nonetheless, since the capital of the US is very famous, the Dharma throne I am seated on is very high, and also I am much recovered today. An outpouring of words came out of my mouth naturally. If there is anything that touches you, please keep it in mind. If not, please forgive me. All right, that is what he said.
Khenpo Sodargye